Greetings in the love and light of the one infinite creator. I'm Andre and joined here by our usual crowd and a special guest, MonaLisa, who will be introducing us to the basics of channeling. Go ahead.
So I'm a channeler, and so when I teach channeling, one of the things that I do when I teach channeling, I don't know, I didn't know I was going to be teaching it, but I said set up your space. And so setting up your space is like mentally getting you in the right space. So you can see that I have a special cloth that I use, rocks, and you can see I have a cat, and any cat, dog that is a love and light, they run in high vibration. And so when he starts purring, I mean, my heart just is like opens up a floodgate. It is so important. I can teach you all the ins and outs of channeling, which I will go through. It's quite simple. But if your vibration isn't high enough, then you can't do the channel. It just doesn't work. So how do you get your vibration high enough? You have to open up the heart space. So how do you open up the heart space? So that's where my guides have told me that humans only need to sit in the heart space and look, and that means to fill with joy, compassion, gratitude, the positive emotions. It's like 51 or 53%. And so if you imagine you sleep 8 hours a day, and that means the other 16 hours a day, you spend only half of that, a little over half. It has to be somehow a little over half. Then you open up what they call the heart space, and your frequency rises, and your vibration goes up. And that's how all those who can channel. It's that they are in that heart space. And so what does that mean to be in the heart space? It means that not only are you thinking positive thoughts more than negative thoughts, and like I said, they said it's not that much. It's like 53%, right? It's that spirit understands when you work, what I call work it. And by that means I don't have to work it anymore. But when I was first learning, we have minds, and it's about what I call understanding how the mind works. So how does the mind work? So how the physical mind works is that we have beliefs, and the beliefs run our emotions, and the emotions run our thoughts. So you want to take any negative belief. That's the opposite of love is fear. So anything that's fear-based, anything that's negative, when you receive that thought or that emotion, you have to take a moment out, go into the heart space and say, oh, why am I feeling angry right now? Oh, I'm feeling angry because I bought into the thought I'm poor. Oh, I'm not poor. That's just a belief I have. I know I'm abundant. I'm abundant in all things. I'm abundant in air. I'm abundant in clothing. I'm abundant in pets, animals. Um, and I can see my reality. When you get to the place that I'm at, they've showed me my future. I see the glorious. There's nothing wrong with my house. My house is so abundant. And you also have to take out the word need, but I'm not going to get into that right now today because that doesn't have to do with channeling. So I'm just trying to tell you how to get into that proper heart space to raise your vibration so you can channel. Because you can do all the steps that all the channelers outline, and you can practice it, which is a glorious thing, because then you're telling the universe, I want to channel. I want to channel. So that's a good thing to do. And so I'll take you through the steps. And so then once you know the steps, you can go ahead and practice and channel yourself. But until that heart space opens up, then more than likely, most people can't channel until that heart space opens up. And the heart space is, if you think about it, since I know your audience knows the the law books, they talk about fourth density
Hmm.
is the density of love, right? So
Hmm.
that's what we're doing. I don't think I want to use the word density, because honestly, we're not, because we would have to die to really enter fourth density, and you all know that. But dimension. So my guides have used the word dimension. So the fourth density is the density of love and sitting in the heart. And mass people on the planet, so we have learned through millenniums to work in that root chakra, right? We all live in that root chakra, which is we don't have enough, we're not worthy. And then you go on up to the sacral chakra, and a lot of people are getting into their creative spark at this time on the planet. So they've opened up that sacral, they've embraced their creativity, whether it be electronics or channeling or art. Maybe it's even fishing. I mean, they can tell you all the ins and outs of fishing. So a lot of people are in that sacral. And then the yellow, a lot of people get stuck in the yellow for millenniums. And I'm not kidding. The yellow is the doing. They try to use the doing brain, the thinking brain. And I'm telling you, it's not until you learn how to turn it off and you go with the heart brain. It's a proven scientific fact that the heart puts out electromagnetic fields.
Hmm.
And I don't know if your audience knows it or not, but on top of that, consciousness is it's the invisible internet connection between all things. And so, as a channeler, as a medium, all I do is I tune in to that. The internet of consciousness is literally what I'm doing. And how do I know if I'm channeling my guides versus Yeshua ben Joseph or whoever wants to come in? It's frequency. I
Hmm.
happen to be a seer. Most channelers are not a seer. And what is a seer? A seer is I see in my third eye. So not
Hmm.
only when I channel, they like when I channel the Christ consciousness, it feels like 1,000 angels, and I kind of get the hand of God coming down. So I see that while I'm channeling. That's the Christ consciousness. I'll see that first. That's who it is, right?
Hmm.
If I'm getting Yeshua ben Joseph, which is the man who lived, Jesus
Hmm.
Christ, not a real being. It's a being that they made up in the Bible. Okay. But I'm getting Yeshua ben Joseph. He feels quite different. Normally, I can often start crying. My face turns red, right? He has his own special frequency. The same thing for Buddha. If I
Hmm.
channel Buddha, oh, he gives me so much peace and happiness and joy. They all have their own special frequency. Okay,
Hmm.
so let's go back to the basics. The very few, okay, the basics of how to channel. But like I said, you can is that you set up your space and you set up your ceremony. I normally, when I channel, I have like one necklace on. I don't have to anymore, but when I first channeling, it was a sign to spirit. When I put on two necklaces, that was a physical sign that I would do. So I'm giving them a physical sign. I'm going to start channeling soon. So you want to do that, right? And when you first start channeling, you also want to have an invitation. What does that mean? You don't want to just say, I'm going to sit down and channeling. You get someone who channels all the time, they can do that. But when you first start channeling, have a time and you say, like, okay, I am going to channel. I would do something like someone easy to channel. Who's going to be easy for your channel? It's going to be your higher self. It can be a higher self in your spirit team. If you happen to know an alien, You can channel your alien friend or two.
Mm-hmm.
But so you're going to set up the party. Let's just say it's your mom on the other side of the fence. And you're going to say, Mom, I'm going to at 7 o'clock, see if I can't channel you and bring you in and see if you have a message for the family. Okay. So you're going to tell your mom verbally. So, and so my animals can feel that, I'm getting surrounded with love and light. So they always come in. But, and so, you want to set up a time, and then you want to get in that right headspace and say, at that time, I am going to channel whoever it is you decided. That's your intention, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I always used to take a moment out, connect to the heart space, right? You want to drop down into the heart space and say, higher self. This is what I used to always do every single time. Higher self, at 7 o'clock tonight, I would like to channel you. I would like to channel my guides. You want your first channeling sessions to be the easy peasy. So that's going to be
Mm-hmm.
your guides, or that's going to be your higher self. Those are the first two out of the gate. Um, and some people are uncomfortable with channeling, let's say, a loved one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but so what I've done is I'll give you I'll give you an example in a few minutes of how I do it. But uh, I've always state for the highest good and of love and light and love, and through source and with source. And that is my intention. At this point, I am so surrounded by my guides. Um, I know that they're here. I
Mm-hmm.
know that they're here. I understand that the veil isn't really there. That
Yeah.
we're talking about frequencies and vibrations, everything. They're all here. They're all right now.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so you want to set up that appointment. You want to give that invitation to the party, if you will, and you want to use positive statements. This is very important. So as you go
Yeah.
throughout your day, you want to tell yourself positive things. I am going to channel my guides. It's going to be 7 o'clock. It's going to happen tonight. Why? Because you got to know it. There's a difference between a belief and a knowing. So when
Mm-hmm.
you are standing up and you drop your wallet, you know you can bend down and pick it up. You don't have to stop and think. That's how you want to know it's them. But I will tell you, they will come through if you practice this, and you set your time and your intention is through the heart space with love and light of all that there is. And I'll show you how I do it in just a few minutes. They eventually will come through for you. It's just it. And so, how I know it's real. How do you know it's your? I get this, the biggest question I have with beginner people who want to channel. How do you know it's real versus your imagination? Once you become more in tuned, I can be channeling whoever I'm channeling, and my consciousness is kind of pushed aside, and I'm talking to my higher self. That can only happen if I'm really channeling, doing
Mm-hmm.
two things like that at once, right? But at the very beginning, you won't know. You won't know the difference whether you're making it up or if it's real. And so what you can ask is, tell me something I wouldn't know or wouldn't have thought of. And
Mm-hmm.
they are always willing to give you that evidence. The first couple times I channeled Yeshua ben Joseph, I said, in a meditative prayer, I said, how do I know I'm not making it up? And I heard him quite clearly, go read Ezekiel 3:3 for the spiritual context.
Okay.
And so the spiritual context of that verse was that trust the spiritual messages that you receive.
Mm.
That was a game changer. I can't tell you. So you ask for it. It seems so simplistic, to ask for
Hmm.
evidence. But you need, if you want to know that you're not making it up, you can ask for the evidence.
Yeah.
And go, yeah, and go with whatever information you receive.
I just got Ezekiel 33 on the screen here. I don't know if you happen to remember the verse. Here, I'll change it into a translation that's easier to read.
I have it written.
Okay.
Let me real quick. Let me
Okay.
see.
Here, Watchman's message. Okay. All right.
I thought I remembered it was Ezekiel 3:3.
Oh, Ezekiel 3:3. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fill your stomach with this, he said, and when I ate it, it tasted as sweet as honey in my mouth.
That doesn't sound right.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, while we're doing this,
Mhm.
figuring this out. What I was going to say was the comparing your process to what Carla talks about, and essentially, like you describe it very similarly. I'm assuming that by you clearing your space and cycling your chakras and everything else, then you're doing the same process as they did when they did the LBRP, or circling the space. And then I assume that when you're talking about being able to feel the vibration of the entity, then that would be the equivalent of you challenging, or you come in the name of Jesus. You set the same intentions that Carla did. In the highest and the best, or the highest and good. Um, uh, the idea of you calling in your guides and everything else is quite similar. The only difference is that markedly that I can think about from reading what she spoke about is the idea of the kind of mind space. Like you spoke about the heart space, I suppose, in the same kind of context. But she talked about it like you have well, it's very very similar to the Silver method. Have you read those books before? Jose Silver Mind Control books.
No, I've definitely heard of them, but I have
Yeah.
not read
Well,
anything.
he describes kind of like quite a detailed meditation process, which kind of the idea being that in the kind of heart space, kind of meditative place, that you build kind of essentially like a laboratory where you can devise tools and things that would help you understand inner workings, I suppose is the way of describing it. But then he also describes having a room which is like a cinema room where you have uh, either three screens, or the way Carla describes it is you have one screen in the center and you have two doors. And then you sit inside the room and you invite the entity to come into that space to then converse.
Yeah, so you have to understand when Carla did it, it was when the veil was thicker, and you had to have a lot more rules. You had to have a lot more going in, if you will. If you guys understand
Mm.
that,
Yeah.
and so the veil is thinner. So I will be honest, you guys. I do a lot of my channeling on the elliptical, which blows people away. But let me tell you why. Now we know something that I don't think Carla knew, and that was our. It's called like DNA codes. So there's a whole book on it. So my DNA code is movement, right? So I had my heart chakra open, and I've been able to channel through writing for many years, just through writing. I write, I get my messages from my higher self and my guides. Every now and then, source would come through, or an angel. I never knew if it was totally okay. So maybe next time I will look up exactly that verse. I have it written down somewhere. I thought it was right here in this book, but it's not. But it might be Ezekiel 33:3. But anyways,
So,
Ezekiel 33:3.
MonaLisa, when you're talking about the DNA codes, you mean like the stuff that Ash and Dean talked about in the Voyagers material, kind of like, that
Oh,
we've got specific codes
Yes,
inside that
yes,
are
yes,
activated
exactly.
as we're the awakening's happening and we're approaching fourth density. That kind of
Yeah.
oh,
So yeah, so mine is movement. So I was practicing getting a meditative state, laying on the bed or sitting up, trying to channel, and I did it for a couple days, and I got nothing. And then I got up and I started walking around the lake, and I got as I walked around my lake, I got Yeshua ben Joseph, and I'm like, how can when I walk, you come and we can talk around my lake, but I can sit all day, and he goes, try not sitting.
okay.
So the um, it worked with Buddha, it worked with Carla, but we're now entering a new era, and
Mhm.
and so the reason why I can do it with the elliptical through movement is that's the way I work. I
Mhm.
love to move. I love to keep going, and it's just showing people that you can do whatever it is you love. And let's say you love fishing, you can be out fishing, and that might be the perfect time for you to open up and be a channel. Okay, if that is something that gets you in the right mindset, heart space, it might be, maybe your thing is kittens. You love kittens, you have enough kittens, and you take a batch in and you wean them, and then you throw them to the next person who's going to do their next thing with the kittens down the line. So maybe that's your thing. So maybe you're in a channel while you have these kittens around you. So
that's really strange that you bring up movement. It's only because of the fact that I've actually spent quite a lot of time recently actually looking at kind of the meditative place that you can get to just by standing and just allowing your body to move naturally with how you feel, kind of little twitches and movements and things like that, because that's
yeah,
something that Coatzalotl suggested, and
yeah,
I found that incredibly powerful, just being able to kind of connect to
mhm,
the soul bodies and things like that.
yeah.
And that once again, like I read the recent Hidden Hand material, and that said that the guy prefers meditating while he dances. So all of this ties in lovely with what you're saying synchronistically. Sorry, Andre, and I don't mean to interrupt my Lisa. I do this a lot.
No,
Sorry.
no, 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 no. That's fine.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I think Ezekiel 3:3 does work. Here, I just got a different translation here, and then he said, "Son of man, eat this scroll I am giving you, and fill your stomach with it." So I ate it, and it tasted sweet as honey in my mouth.
Yes,
And
yes, that's it.
mhm. And this actually works on multiple aspects in terms of that Jesus is well known to have referred to himself as the Son of Man, and so he liked the verses about the Son of Man in the Bible, so he would remember that verse and then eat this scroll that I'm giving you, that is giving you information, and then it's sweet as honey, and so the information is well, good for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was my confirmation that I wasn't making it all up. That I was receiving my messages, and so like I said, if you whoever wants to start channeling, just it's just going to make you feel good to ask for evidence,
Mhm.
no matter who you get. Now, if you happen to channel an alien off planet, it's kind of hard to for them to give you evidence. How I get a lot of evidence is like I'm a seer from from what I know, and I be honest, I watch a lot of people channel. I used to anyway. I never heard them talk about being a seer, meaning that they see the entity or whatever. So I can see them,
Mhm.
but I don't know if they could give you quote um, an evidence. if that makes any sense.
Right.
I think it'd be very difficult for the alien population, except for they do every now and then they'll come in and make a prediction that they're on the mark.
Mhm. Yeah, I just wanted to add. That I can see in the spirit too. But the in terms of the proof, I think that it's important to note that the proof of service to others entity would be completely personal. In terms of that, say for instance, with aliens, you might see proof in terms of you might be outside and then you might see some lights in the sky, but then the person next to you might not see the same lights.
Yes, exactly. That's
Exactly.
exactly what I meant. Yes.
Hmm. So it's not
Beautiful.
about proving it to other people, but just proving to yourself. Just like, say, for instance, Gideon in the Bible, he asked for proof. God, is this really you? About like, if there's water on the wool and then not on the ground, and then vice versa. So that was a personal proof, and it goes to show that it's totally normal to ask for personal proof, but you're not trying to convince anybody else because
Mhm.
then that would be going into the service to self territory.
Right, right.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Did you want to continue,
Um,
or or
well,
or
I
you want
just
to?
just
Would
so
you
you
would you
all
like to
know,
do?
my hubby just came in.
Oh, okay. Hello.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any questions? So basically, let me see where we were. I told you to set up the party and then go to the party and have your confidence there, and make sure as you go into the party that your area is ceremonial, is all set up. It can be very, very simple. Like I said, the few times that I've gone on stage and I've done channeling, it's so simple. I wear a couple necklaces. Okay, that's it.
Hmm.
That's their way. Okay, if I'm on the Oracle elliptical, I normally do have on at least, and when I say necklaces, there's some kind of crystal or some kind of stone, right? Um, and then, but they know it. I've been going to that party every morning for a long time now, so it's all set up. And just go in and know that when you close your eyes, whatever I say normally, I can tell you. Right afterwards, they're like dreams. When you start to channel, and how I receive the channeling is blocks of information. And so sometimes I would use the wrong words. So I like to tell beginners is don't be afraid to use the wrong words. Um, they think, I'll say, are you sure you want me to do it? Because I'll every now and then I'll say, let's say, let me think of a good word that I will say wrong. Every now and then I'll say I instead of we, because it's not one person coming in.
Mm.
They have told me when I channel, I had a sister who had who is disabled. She's not disabled on the other side, but somehow when she comes in, it's like her calling card for me. She's an
Okay.
angel now, but
Hmm.
when she comes in, she will say I. She's the only
Okay.
one who will. All the other entities, Source says we, uh, Yeshua ben Joseph, they all say we, but every now and then I'll say I, and I'm like, are you sure you got the right man or woman for this job? Because I
Uh-huh.
screw up, and they're like, you're perfect in your perfectness. And so continue, and so I'll continue, and I try not to stop the channeling. I'm actually having this conversation, like I said, over here on the side. It's like
Hmm.
I know what I came out of my mouth was wrong.
Oh,
And
okay.
it was wrong. And so when I stop channeling, I have about 30 seconds. It's like a dream. If you write down your dream, you remember it, but dreams don't go into your long-term memory or even your short-term. You have to wake up and you got like 30 seconds to write that dream down. I have 30 seconds to say what that channeling was about, right? And sometimes if I honestly, I don't get it, especially if I'm over here yakking with my higher self. I won't.
She'll tell me on one of her elliptical oracles, okay, it's about this, do this for a title. I'll edit it. I'm like, you didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because she doesn't, it doesn't always register what she was. You
No.
had a much deeper message than that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And the other way you can know that you're channeling is Charlie made me listen to some of my channelings, and I was like crying.
So who said that?
I'm like, who is saying that? That's not me. I don't know this stuff.
Wow.
And so it's a higher consciousness. But for physical evidence, it was really beautiful. Charlie just showed me this too, like a month ago for the first, maybe he showed it to me before and I forgot. So when I'm talking, as I do my clearing, and I'm doing a clearing of my chakras, and I'm inviting everyone into the party, I'm talking. And then I close my eyes, and when I hear, and I always hear the same thing, they say, hello, 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 MonaLisa. That's my cue to start channeling. So that's also another piece of evidence for you, is that and that's all telepathically.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, I'll start channeling. So, but I won't start until I hear that.
Do you mind if I have a couple of questions, if you don't mind, if that's okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I wouldn't say that I have any experience in this before, mostly because I haven't trusted myself, like you said. You know, I think that's a pretty standard thing for most people. But you know, I've experimented with different things, and I've done channel drawing and channel writing before.
Yes, that's beautiful.
I've had successes with both of those before. From my higher self, I asked it questions, and then I just kind of scribbled, without looking, meditative state, and then I kind of had to look at it with mirrors and all upside down and backwards and all this kind of weird stuff. But inside each one of the scribbles was the answer to my question. It was kind of amazing. So, and then the next time I asked for questions about my Atlantis ring, and essentially, I scribbled on a bit of paper, and the three pictures kind of came together, and they kind of, I don't know, told me like a comic strip essentially of kind of how humans got the bit of Atlantean technology. And then I always doubted that, because I was kind of like, well, how am I ever going to prove that? That's some weird bug-headed alien thing managed to have got his ring stolen. But then well, obviously, maybe a year later or so, I see pictures of petroglyphs in, pre-Stone Age caves where is the exact same alien I drew, with the exact same pattern, firing some kind of energy beams that all the animals are running away from. It's kind of like, wait a sec, that's, once again, like you said, they give you the piece of information. The other thing I would say about is the packets of information that you said about when you receive it. I once had an astral projection experience when I met my dad, and that is how all of our communication was. It wasn't like there was actual words. It was like I'd ask a question, but it wouldn't be a question. It'd be like a little bubble of every concept and image and other thing I could put into the all of my experience that went to that question, that was then sent across as if I was saying it, and then he'd say something back as if I was hearing it, but it would actually be this bubble of all of his experiences and all the things that essentially he went through in his life that answered that said question. Is that the same kind of communication that you perceive as a kind of grounding point for me to see where I'm at?
That is absolutely normal. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. So spirit will often use symbols and images. I normally just talk telepathically. It's just words is normal. If I'm going to work with animals, they can only understand pictures. So like I can send my cat a picture, or he can send me a picture.
It's so weird, because I've done the same thing that I've spoken to people here. My cat was just as likely to respond to come to me when I imagined him running over to me as when I shouted his name. And I tested this over and over again. And like I said, they seem to pick up on pictures far better than they do sound. So I fully agree with you there. But weirdly, the only thing I would say is Gink. I don't know whether you remember me talking about the fox entity that I communicate with.
So foxes, he's an animal. Elementals do symbols too. You might want to use symbols with
But with him, it is much more conversational. He will fully talk, like, you know, and with, like you said, like they say things that surprise you. That's how you know that it's not you.
Right.
You know, like it has got such a witty sense of humor. Like, yeah, I almost break concentration trying to talk to it from laughing sometimes from the witty little things it says. But when it comes to imagery, it's weird. It's like it projects a symbol from its forehead, which goes into shapes, and it's like depending on kind of what its vibration is, I suppose, is the kind of pattern that I perceive at its forehead. Once again, is that a similar kind of way of perceiving?
Yes, but there is no wrong way. There is no wrong way. There are people who only channel through art. There's people who only channel through their emotions. They feel it, right? They get goosebumps, right? How do they know that they're receiving a message? They get goosebumps. So feeling is, don't underestimate feeling. Feeling's a good way to communicate back and forth, especially when you're just starting to channel your higher self. So my higher self can touch my skin, and I will feel it if I'm being really still. My higher self, I tell people, it gives me a hug from the inside out, which is kind of weird. But yeah. So, the other physical evidence that you can have is my husband, because I have a podcast, the Elliptical Oracle, is that when I'm talking, it looks like, is that the sound wave? The sound wave, you can tell it's just a person talking. And then when I go into channeling, it looks totally different.
Her voice doesn't sound that different, and I'm a broadcast engineer, so I recognize waveforms. It's just a denser waveform. So when I'm trying to mark chapters on her podcast, I'm like, okay, here's where she starts channeling. Click. Yep, that's it. You know, I can see it visually. I can see the difference in the waveform of her voice.
Must make editing really easy.
It helps. It's like I already have a point there that I can see the voice change. I can't tell from looking at the video because she's just on her elliptical doing her thing, you know. But it's interesting to see that there's a different wave shape, and it doesn't.
Do you think that you could kind of compare her normally talking and the waveform and actually extract out kind of the voice of the entity?
There's a different energy in it, and if you listen closely to her voice, you can tell. But I don't know if she channeled earlier. I wasn't here the whole time, but her channeling voice isn't like she goes like this or anything like that. You know, it's her voice, but
although that would be awesome.
Yeah. It's just my voice. It's just a different frequency. It's a different mode. So if you want, I'll give you an example, but as I go in and show you how I do it, I'm going to ask you guys to think of a couple questions, because that's what completes the channel. And so so whatever questions you have for spirit, you can go ahead and ask them. My team, when I first started channeling, they said they don't do fortune telling. That's one thing they don't do. Okay. But if you want to ask, like, I don't know, if dogs go to heaven or I don't know, you know, if there's a hell, some question that, you know, the raw contact didn't answer for you. And you have any spiritual questions, they blow my mind, that they come in.
The engineer Henry has to fix your video. Okay.
Okay.
Who's using the built-in camera, not the good camera?
Okay. So, anyway, so when I go in, like I said, I make sure my area is good. And so, like I said, I have my little tools. It doesn't have to be much. So I'm gonna just keep this in my hand so you can see it. And generally, I do close my eyes, and I drop down into the heart space. I take a couple deep breaths, and I go to the breath. I go to the breath, and I just breathe. And I let the world go. And I imagine there's a little diamond from the air in my lungs that goes down to my heart space. And I ask my heart to expand in 360 degrees, way far beyond my physicality. I ask that I connect to Source, to God. I ask that I connect to all that there is. And I ask that my higher self bring in Zand, whoever needs to come in for the highest good of this group who's listening and who's here today, that I can bring them in. But right before I bring them in, I'm going to ask my higher self to clear out each and every one of my chakras and to ground me to Mother Earth with all that there is, and let my roots go around the most beautiful chakra colored clear crystal quartz in the center of Earth. And a few of them dangle out through the other side of Mother Gaia. And one of them touches the core of Mother Gaia. And as it touches the core, as in thanks and gratitude for me recognizing Mother Gaia and the love and all that she is, she shoots a lightning bolt through my entire body, clearing out anything negative, opening up each and every chakra, coming out through the crown of my head and into the cosmos. And at this time, I'm asking for the highest good of all who would like to come in this moment. Hello, hello, hello. We are so pleased to be here. We are Zand and we stand not alone. So, yes, feel free to ask us questions. And this pleases us to be here in this very moment, in this very, very moment, this special moment to dance with you. This is a party for us, and we come with the love and light of all that there is. We come just wanting to share this moment with you, to share this celebration, to share this great moment. This moment is all that there is. There is no past and there is no future. It is all now. And this now is glorious. And we are filled with the love and the light to just be here. And we thank you. We are honored to be here. We are so honored to be here in this moment with you. Is there any questions that any of you might have for us?
I have a question, if that's okay. I greet you in love and light, and I would like to ask a question of whether you know of any written material that will allow us to understand the secret, the deeper truths of the Confederation or Law of One teachings.
The deeper truths, they are out there, and they are in spurts in many books. And the law of one The law of one does an excellent job in lifting one up and filling one with the knowledge of what there is and what there shall always be. Um, we are going to suggest that perhaps one might be interested in the book called The Formula of Bashar from Daryl Anka.
I would
Thank
like.
you.
I'm wondering. I'd like to know more about Zand and the collective that they're a part of.
Zand is over what we describe as 100,000 angels strong. These are most of Mona Lisa's and Charlie's future and past selves, but not all of them. The ones that she knows intimately, one of she calls, you have to understand, to give a name to something. We would like to say to give a name to something is to put limits on it, is it not? So therefore, once we leave this physical realm, we kind of let go of the names. But for sequence, for ordering, for understanding in the 3D reality, names can be helpful. So the Chandler's life guide is Nick. And Nick is a Pleiadian who stands about, in your reference, would it be about 7 feet tall? And he looks very much like a lion being to you. And so he is the number one. And be with him stands his mate. His mate is the name that the Chandler has given Christina. And Christina is another Pleiadian lion being. And this would be what you would reference as the Chandler's future self. But you have to understand, Christina will always be Christina. And Mona Lisa will always be Mona Lisa. And so, but do you understand the reference? That do you understand
Yes.
that past selves and future selves don't really exist? It just means that you share the same oversoul. So us 100,000 angel strongs are from two separate oversouls, that of Charles and that of Mona Lisa. Charles has many more past and future lives. The Chandler, not so much. She spends most of her time in the angelic realm as an angelic being. So her past and future lives are not quite as vast as his are. And he has plenty of beings around him that help him navigate. We are with her to help her navigate. She also has her sister, and that would be actually she has both her sisters. And so one sister that we would like to bring forth is Neoma. And Neoma is the Chandler's what she refers to as her younger sister, but in life she was actually 10 years older. And let us step back for a moment and bring her in. Hello. I am Tootie. I am so pleased to be here. Yes. I come today. I am with my sister. We are a part of Zand, but I come to say hello, and to send love. And is this not all that is required? Um, I like to teach. I like to teach that while on earth, I was what you consider broken on the physical and mental levels. I no rest, that we are not broken. I am not broken, that all is well, that I was actually the first person that came through, MonaLisa. It was I came through, and I enjoy. We are Zand. We are Zand.
Amen. All right. Fred has a question. Go ahead, Fred.
Can you give a unique perspective difference between our higher selves and our own soul groups?
Yes. So there, your higher self, is your oversoul. And so your oversoul has all your future and your past lives is part of your oversoul. So you want to know, is there a difference between a soul family and whether if you have a soul family separate than your group of oversouls? So can two oversouls work together like MonaLisa and Charlie's and make a soul family? Yes. And there are many oversouls that do this. And it could be a group of two oversouls that do this, or it could be a group of 3 or 4 or 5 or even more.
Got you. So soul group can be how many people or how many different higher self beingnesses are usually included in most soul groups?
So you're talking about hundreds of thousands. So let's put it perspective. There is like 3 on the planet this time. There are somewhere between 3 and 500,000 oversouls for all the billions of people on the planet.
So you can exist in multiple soul groups as your own self.
We would say that you would always be you. We would say that you work with other, like you're on the other side. Let's look at it from our point of view. We see Fred right here, right now, on the other side. This is your higher self. This is a higher self of Fred. This is you. And your higher self is directly tied to your oversoul. And this oversoul, if you can imagine, has these beautiful, beautiful diamond threads connecting all of your past and present lives. These aren't as, you will see them as brothers and sisters, because not all will be male and not all will be female, but these, you can imagine them as your brothers and sisters. When you get to heaven, you will see each other and hug each other, and they will welcome you back. They will welcome you back as your higher self will become more complete once you rebirth back into your soul, which will become a spirit. When you rebirth back into the other side, that's when you become a spirit. Right now, your soul, your higher self, is with you always on the other side, without time and space, to know and to guide you and to lead you.
Thank you.
Good. I would like to know about Yeshua ben Yosef, and more of if he has a special message for our group or this time and place, and his relationship to the world.
Okay. I am Yeshua ben Joseph. I am honored to be here. what I often feel like in many prayers is, what did I teach? What did I really, really teach? I taught love. I taught love without the word love. Do you understand that at that time the word love was not in existence yet? So I taught understanding. I taught compassion in the physical form. I taught that God lives within. I taught that you are eternal. That I taught that one God lives within, that the kingdom of heaven is within you. I taught that you shall do things greater than I did. And in this time on your planet, isn't it true? Isn't it true that many of the channelers are doing far greater things than I did? Know that I was not perfect. Know that I love and love my, what you would consider wife, my wife, Mary Magdalene. She completed me. We were one. We were one. And yes, we had children. And yes, we had children. The message for this group is congratulations. Congratulations. Congratulations for being here. Congratulations to opening and expanding your mind. Congratulations on your questions. This is a moment of celebration, and it is these small groups that are happening throughout the planet at this time that will help the assistance of the frequencies to rise as and we would say to this small group, know that your planet is in a time of childbirth, and childbirth can be messy and sometimes doesn't go as well as planned, but the end result is glorious. And to there is not enough love and gratitude to tell you to always seek the answers from within, and to look at the eternal gifts that you, each and every one of you, have, and to give thanks in every moment and every breath, and everything there is glory, and everything that is glory. This is your time upon earth in 3D Earth School. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Know that your life was meant to be glorious. When you came here, none of you said, I'm going to have an icky, difficult life. You said, I'm going to set up these challenges that I know I will overcome. And I will find celebration and joy and love in all of it.
Thank you. Adam, did you have a question?
Yes, I was curious of what MonaLisa's life path number, if your guides can tell you that.
8. It is 8, and that's just she's saying, I already knew that.
Okay, we got some other 8s in here, Edward and Fred. That's kind of wild. I think Dan's an 8 too, right?
Okay.
Can I ask another question?
Go ahead, Ed.
Okay, so Zan, I am I'm a firm believer that magic is an important thing that human beings should be able to do, and that we've either lost the ability, or and I know that manifestation and having the right kind of mental outlook is essentially the same kind of process. But I was more looking about things like say how to communicate with a crystal, how to kind of connect to its energies, how to and also the other thing I'd like to know is about kind of how old technologies that used to seem like they work on spirit worked. like say Vajras that they used to have in ancient India, or the Atlantis ring, things that have notoriously been able to enhance human ability. Is there things like that that we can learn to utilize now that aren't maybe being looked at the way they should be?
Know that magic is simple physics, and that as right now in this time in your history, that it these simple physics are being understand. We will say that all that there is consciousness which gives birth to energy, which gives birth to light. That is all that there is. It is very simple physics. So consciousness is just the awareness, and as you create consciousness, that is your energy, and there is no one on the planet that has any more energy than anyone else. So the Atlanteans and all the beings on the planet, a lot of them did bring their highly what you consider advanced technology at this time from their planets. So that did come. As far as connecting to the magic and the power and the crystal, one way to do that, we would say, is through meditation. And it is through learning how to love and to communicate with your higher self. And as you have this fluid talk and reasoning with your higher self, you can ask your higher self, show me how to use the potential energy in a crystal. But we would say that many things that have been lost and that were buried, that you may or may not know, is that words are very like spells. Words are like spells, and that was lost and buried. They understood that you create your reality through your thoughts. Eh, when you have a thought and you speak it, and then you do that small action, know that behind you, your higher self, let's say you want to use a crystal for healing. As you think and as you say, I'm using this crystal for healing, and you place this simple crystal upon someone's, let's say, belly, if they're having a bellyache, and you say, I'm going to use this crystal to bring them back into balance. And you imagine that their body systems go back in. So you're using your imagination, your thoughts, and you're using your words. And using the crystal is your action. This is how simple magic was done. This is the magic, some of the magic that has been lost. We encourage you not to overthink it. We encourage you to know how powerful and empowerment, we would use the word empowerment. Empowerment, your words are. Your words are empowerment. Do not underestimate your words.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Well,
if not, then could I ask a follow up?
Okay, go ahead. Yep.
So I kind of understand it, especially from our perspective, that a lot of consciousness as it is in the universe is a kind of vibration of those kind of the base etheric kind of elemental energies. Is that the kind of way that our thoughts are transmitted out into the greater reality, the greater dream, as it were?
So yes, so your thoughts have a vibration to them. So, and so does your words. You have to understand, consciousness may not really care about the exact words or wording. It's more of the vibration that you bring with it. So if you bring joy and love and the vibration of the knowing that you're going to be able to heal with the crystal, then that is where the healing comes from.
So is that essentially faith?
We would say it's a step beyond that. That's a knowing. That's a knowing, and so as you do your practice, like if you want to be a healer, and as you do your healers on the planet for millennia have been doing Reiki. This is all your, you know, whether you use crystals or not, or words, and they raise their vibration, and that is what makes their hands. When you become a master Reiki, it's the knowing from your inner being, connecting to the source. It's the source within you doing the magic. It's the source within you. Know that nothing is done without the source that lives within you. It is all through source. So we can talk about manifestations all day long, and as well as vibration, but without love, it is nothing. Without love, it is nothing. There is no there is nothing to compare it to. So
Thank you.
it's the vibration of love that needs to be embedded in all things, especially in your thoughts and your words, to get that magic in the flow.
Fred has a question. Go ahead, Fred.
I just had another quick question about oversouls. Now I'm using language according to what Ra described as far as densities go, meaning describing us being third density mind, body, spirit complexes, and animals and plants as being second density.
We understand.
Second density. How does a second density oversoul differ from our own third density oversoul?
So the oversouls, they are the same. The short answer of it, we would say they are the exact same. But you're thinking, how is it that the trees oversouls are as intelligent as a human oversoul? That's comparison. That's the human linear thinking. Just because a tree cannot move or you cannot see its brain, it doesn't mean trees do not have consciousness, and it does not mean trees don't have oversouls. Trees do have oversouls. Plants have oversouls. Animals have oversouls, and humans have oversouls. The human oversoul, the best way we can describe the human oversoul is, you think of an angel. They are mid to late sixth density, and quite eternal, meaning that their job can grow and to continue this for there is no infinity. And if they decide to advance or begin again, as you would say, they decide to be, I'm done with being an oversoul, then that they will check out other options. Just like if you are tired of your job, you check out other options. At that level, they are eternal. They are eternal.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you could speak to the role of shamans and channelers in traditional societies. Like, I know the Okinawa, which are the longest lived people, they have female channelers that help them with their life process. And all over the world, there seems to be shamans and channelers. And Yes, so I would like you to speak to that role and how it can benefit our modern society.
It is our hope that all beings will be able to channel their higher selves sooner than later. Um, channelers through whether it is through shamanistic or female or male, it does not matter. Is if it is with love and light, they bring in this higher consciousness. They bring in the thinking beyond that what the channeler refers to as the monkey mind. So channelers can rise above the chaos, and they can see, they can like they are sitting in the sky above the ocean. And so they can see where the ship, if you are a ship, if you are a being, and it can help guide the course. Now, this ship might be for a higher self, just you. You might be that ship. And if you learn to listen to your higher self through doing that which brings you the greatest joy, doing that thing that you love to do, as you love to do it, many people think, well, yes, I know that this is channeling my higher self when I step into that role of doing the things that bring me joy. But you miss the point. It could be swimming, it could be fixing an automotive car, and you have a personal problem. And let's say the personal problem is with a relationship. You can say, I'm going to go fix the car because I cannot fix this relationship. Higher self, how do I fix my relationship? Let me know what to do next. And in that instant, as you fix the car, your answer will come. And you have this glorious symbiotic relationship between your higher self and you, and it will just grow and grow and grow. Channelers can give wisdom. They can tell you what your, especially from those of the indigenous, can tell you and help you to interpret your dreams. Dreams are often from your higher self. And once you know how to interpret them, they can lead and guide you and can give you insight in this 3D reality. They can be like a sign for you, a stoplight or a red light or a yellow light. Like, we know that you're thinking about moving. Maybe it's not time to move yet. And so if you take the time or go to a shaman, they can help you interpret your dreams. They were forever the connection between the beings and the spirit world. What a glorious connection this is. But we are saying in this time, as we go through the next 2 to 3 decades, it will be amazing how many channelers come up and rise within the planet in just a short time of 2 to 3 decades.
Thank you.
Their role, they say their role is higher consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And for many, okay, a little bit more. Many years, the shaman served as the bridge, because they showed me a bridge. So they served as a bridge from the human self to the spiritual world. Now, at this time on the planet, it is time for everyone to step into their own empowerment, into their own channeling of spirit guides, into their own channeling of their higher self.
Yeah, thank you. And since you mentioned about the future, I was wondering if you know about any like resource shortages or transitions that we may be going through on a more physical level, to a more, say, rural lifestyle or anything like that.
So know that this time on your planet, we would encourage to keep to keep like the green light on, to always look for the bright side, but be realistic in it. And at the same time, as you go through this, we would ask you, one, you could ask yourself, what can I do to help Mother Gaia? What can I do? At this time, Mother Gaia is getting prepared to leave, and this is up to her when this completely occurs. But to send her love, to send the planet love, and for each and every one of you, it is different how you may send the planet love. We tell people to plant a tree, to plant a small garden, to plant a garden inside. So this can help the planet. If there comes a time when food is scarce, you have that small garden. And you can go and work with your neighbors and get food that's far more healthier than often the foods that you find on your shelves. So that is one way that we can say. You're asking if know the fluid. It's a difficult question because the future is one fluid. It is very fluid. Number two, know that reality, that every moment you are shifting realities. And so as you raise your vibration to higher and higher vibrations, you go toward the planet that brings you into that higher space, into that healthier space, into where that you realize that, yes, in 20 to 30 years, we will have this kind of heaven on earth, not just for yourself and for your family, but for the majority of the people on the planet. Know that there is technologies right here, right now, that can fix every problem that exists on the planet. There is technologies and information that's being held back that can help everyone never have to starve again, to help everyone to have clean water, to help everyone to have free energy, to help everyone to have the medications and the medical help that they need. It exists here on this planet at this time.
And my understanding is that we basically need to mature spiritually more as a planet in order to be able to use those technologies responsibly. Is that so?
That is part of it, but there is the political part as well, we would add. So there are those we would say that wish to not let the masses have that in their being for their self empowerment, for their self growth, and to keep control. It is about controlling of energies.
So what is the best thing that we can do to help those around us and the world?
Always to love yourself. As you raise your frequency raises, and as it goes out beyond your home, beyond your community. If you get to the level of the channeler, her frequency vibrates sometimes at a planetary level and beyond. You can do this, each and every one of you as well, by sitting in the heart space and raising this frequency. The number one thing anyone and everyone can do on the planet is to open up that fourth chakra, to sit in the heart space, to love oneself unconditionally without judgment. Know that sin, guilt, blame, Those are frequencies, those are lower frequencies of the mind. Those are things created through, we would say, through dogma, through the construct of the mind. They do not exist on higher level, on higher planes. They do not exist, for instance, in the Palladians' home planet that is in fifth density. They do not have to be concerned about things of fear, things of lack, and those lower chakra density concerns that you have on this planet at this time.
Do we have any more questions?
I have loads. I could go on all day, but let's just
Okay.
just hopefully really down a little bit. I really do appreciate the interaction, so thank you. Oh, I forgot what I was going to ask now. Okay, so I had
got
like
one.
3 or 4 lined up. I was like,
Okay.
Anyone
Okay.
else? Okay.
We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. As always, it is an honor to serve, an honor to be of service, in love and light and love of all that there is. It is done. It is
Thank you.
done. It is done.
That's going to take a while to unpack.
Mhm.
Very good. Very good.
Wow.
Thank you.
as soon as you started kind of closing it all down, I just had this flood. They all just flooded back. It was like somebody was saying, no, this is enough now, Ed. It's really weird.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I was. We got 10 minutes before the end, and I wanted to have kind of an outro to give a chance for
I
MonaLisa.
grabbed this when Fred was asking the question about structure of souls. She doesn't know I have it, but she had her eyes closed. Did you want to say anything about that, or do you think it?
So, when they were first teaching me about oversouls, so now I'm kind of strange. You all know that by now. I've actually seen my oversoul.
Mhm.
And the best way I can describe her is she is a angelic being, right?
Mhm.
Think of a high up angel, right? So that's how, but she felt like a woman to me, right? I'm sure they can, yes, they're already telling me they can be a it or male or female, right?
Mhm.
And that was MonaLisa's word they're saying, the it, meaning they can be a he, she, whatever. Okay. Before they let me know that my higher self was angelic, this is how they described the oversoul. So everyone's connected to source, and just think of source as consciousness. And they said, okay, so then think about oversoul, okay, as an oversoul has all these lives, and you can't really see, but there's lots of little teeny tiny chakra colored, they look like teeny tiny feathers. That's a person. So
Oh, okay.
so they're each a different person. So you see this oversoul, and so so this particular person has all his future and past lives, and then this oversoul has this other person and all their future and past lives, and they can be at different places. So more certain, like I have less physical past selves and future selves than Charlie. So not every person is the same, right? So, and then everyone is connected. Everyone is connected through angels, through source, and they're telling me everyone is connected through the consciousness web. And there's no such thing as empty space. Empty space is consciousness. There is consciousness in empty space. So,
Ed, do
anyway.
you have a question?
Say, like, I've seen something very, very similar to that. When I've done past life meditations in the past, I've done ones that have started off going into the root chakra and kind of trying to follow it down as if it was a root. And if you keep following it down and following it down, you eventually get to like branch points or like feather points, like you were drawing there in the root. And as I followed them down, each one led off to a separate little life. Like essentially, I was kind of the tap root, and they were all the little branch roots that had led to my growth or whatever it is. But it's very, very similar to kind of what you got drew there, kind of with me being
tree of life. Yep.
Part of that root stem. That's kind of illuminating. Thank you.
Well, I hope that was helpful.
Yeah.
Didn't know I was going to do that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, it was excellent. You know, I think it's God's timing, as they say. You know, the perfect people show up to every meeting.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you, MonaLisa. I didn't expect you to do a channeling tonight. I just wanted to make sure you got the invite.
I'm so thankful you did, though.
You invited me last week, and I didn't see what time it was, so
I was getting ready to go to the show too.
Yeah, I was getting ready to go do one of my psychic fairs anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it ended up being perfect because that was just kind of the synchronicity of it all. That we were reading a session last time, but this time we didn't have a session, and people were ripe and ready to learn about the challenging. And it's kind of like when the student is ready, the teacher appears, as they say.
Yep, yes. Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everybody too, because you have excellent questions. She asked me, let's practice a little bit. I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah, it could be tough.
Amazing living with this lady, though. It really is.
Well, it's wonderful to see you being such a supportive partner there, Charlie. You know,
yeah. So when they speak, it's normally in blocks of words, and so with the blocks of words, I try to I try to put them in the most accurate wording I can. And know that I understand that my wording isn't 100% perfect. They're like, they're yelling at me in my ear right now.
It's all about the message.
and that they actually say that. They say that when they come in, they have a frequency that helps raise whoever is listening to it. Their frequency as they come in, and when I channel, their vibration. So there's a lot of deep truth in that.
Dan, go ahead.
Hi, sorry. I was listening and I didn't have any questions. I don't know. I wasn't prepared for it. Also, maybe I didn't think any questions were worthy of being asked just yet because I couldn't formulate them. So, but anyways, I enjoyed the experience. So, MonaLisa, thank you so much for doing that.
Sure. So you all know I channel. Why Yeshua was so easy to come in. I channel him a lot, and when I first started channeling, besides Zand, I would channel him, and I would say, "Why am I always getting you?" And he goes, "Because you trust me."
Oh.
But how the other ascended masters come in, it's been a glorious unfolding. They come in. I asked Zan to bring whoever in and I knew Yeshua was coming because my chakras open up like you wouldn't believe. And I'm like, oh, they're so big here.
Okay.
But yeah. So anyway, so when the first couple times I got Buddha, I'm not a Buddhist, didn't really know Buddha, but I got Buddha. So I'm like, I better learn about Buddha. Okay. And so, and it's been like that every time I get an ascended master. Last week I got Kudami. Yeah. So I've gotten him twice now.
She also gets things where she'll get a name or something. She'll have to go look it up and yeah, that's exactly, because she'll tell me, I got this.
Oh, yeah. Who is Kudami?
And she looks it up and it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's too many of them to
There are lots
well,
of stories.
yeah, maybe I'll put it in a book, the different ascended masters. But anyway,
Can I
So-
just say,
Go ahead.
Andre having the opportunity to actually directly talk to Giz, I was surprised his head didn't explode on the screen right there. Just having the opportunity to talk to Giz, you know.
oh, my thing with
Bestie, as
Yeshua
it
is, just so you all know, is he's got a